Hello, it's June 28th. Let's get into it. You're going to hear people in the background. Sorry. The harder you fight to hold on to specific assumptions, the more likely there's gold in letting go of them. John Seely Brown. The author of today's quote devoted much of his life to innovation. Assumptions are barriers to innovation because they blind us to opportunities. In some rooms we hear, I had a thinking problem. 12 and 12 philosophy didn't invent the cognitive dissonance paradigm. Sigmund Freud and then later his daughter Anna, 1895 to 1982, studied defense mechanisms like denial that play havoc with untenable truths. The ecologist Pat Thomas expressed how these ideas are transferable in his article on climate change denial. One more way we sidestep an inconvenient truth. Thomas's article, How to Beat Denial, a 12-Step Plan, identified the following. Simple denial is a digging in of our heels, refusing to bend to any facts or reason. Minimizing makes the problem less serious. Rationalizing crafts excuses. Intellectualizing sidesteps emotional engagement by theorizing. Blaming insists fault is elsewhere. Diversion points to bigger problems. Bargaining sees us negotiating deals that we won't be able to follow through with. Passivity has us surrendering to the futility or impossibility of problems. And hostility uses the best defense is a good offense approach. Like a porcupine, we hope they will find us too unpleasant to confront again. Self-deception is old hat to any addict. Maybe it's a function of the human condition to deny unpleasant truths. As addicts, we have overcome denial before battlefields. This skill can be taken from the meetings to many outside battlefields. It would be a stubborn assumption, indeed, if we declared that our denial-busting capacity is to arrest our addiction only and to take no responsibility to take this skill outside the rooms if and when it may do some good. A spiritual life takes effort and doesn't always agree with the crowd. Wouldn't it be karmic to spend the rest of our lives wrestling with other people's denial? How familiar do these denial traps sound to me now? Of these rackets above, what's my favorite for avoiding unpleasant truths? Do I have skills learned in the rooms that could be a good example out in the community? I didn't realize, for one thing, I'd never heard of the Ecologist by Pat Thomas. And again, I think it looks like I'm gonna have to do some reading. When it came to all the ways you can deny things, right? Simple denial, right? Refusing to bend to any reason or facts. Minimizing, making the problem less serious. Rationalizing, crafts excuses, right? Intellectualizing, sidesteps emotional engagement by theorizing. Blaming, fault is elsewhere. Diversion points to the bigger problems. Bargaining sees us negotiating deals that we won't be able to follow through with. Passivity, surrendering to the futility or impossibility of problems. Hostility uses the best defense as a good offense approach. Simple denial for me was, as a Jehovah's Witness, refusing to bend to any facts or reason. Yeah, I thought Jehovah would take care of it, right? Minimizing, it's worse outside than inside. The Catholics, right? Well, it's bad everywhere. It's not just bad in the organization, but it's bad everywhere. Rationalizing, crafts excuses. Well, you know, where do I go? Where else can I go if I don't stay in, quote, the truth, right? Where do you go if you want God? You would go to Catholicism. Are you a Protestant? What, Mormon? What is it? So you rationalize and say, okay, well, I'll just stay one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Intellectualizing, emotional engagement by theorizing. I did have an emotional attachment to God. Very much so. Jehovah was my best friend, as we're supposed to, right? And as we're trained to. Blaming, insist fault is elsewhere. I blamed my husband. I noticed that when he would bring up issues that were very true, and I could tell, you know, I tried to rationalize, well, it's bad everywhere, right? And God's watching and he'll step in. And then I would do the, well, you don't even believe in God, so why are you even saying anything to me? You don't even believe in him. How could you do that? Diversion points to bigger problems. You become selfish. Marriages fall apart because they leave the organization. Bargaining sees us negotiating deals that we won't be able to follow through with. I think I wanted to see my dad again. And I, of course, wanted to see my grandmother. I wanted to see them again. Bargaining with God. I don't think I saw it as bargaining. I just thought I thought I would see these people again if I remained faithful to the organization and to Jehovah. Because I bundled up Jehovah with the organization. I didn't see God as different because that's how we're trained, right? God is only with Jehovah's Witnesses and not with any other religion. And then hostility. The best defense is a good offense. Yeah, of course. You get irritated with people who tell you the truth. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I could see the truth there. I could see that my husband was being honest with me when he would bring up issues that I did not like. Molest. My sibling was molested by a ministerial servant. Now, to rationalize that out was hard for me, but I did, because I thought God was watching, and just like Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, the earth would swallow these bad men up one day. Right? So you rationalize it through. I think if bad elders died, which they did in my area, there was one particular elder that was just he was awful. He had a massive heart attack. I was like, well, Jehovah took care of it. Yeah, no. Like a porcupine, we hope they will find us too unpleasant to confront again. Oh, my biggest arguments with my husband were because of religious beliefs. It was awful. Our family was really torn apart by by my belief system, and then him trying to do the best he could to rationalize me out of this belief system, which took 20 years. It's a long time, because think about it. I mean, I grew up in this belief. So it took a long time for me to just see where it was wrong. And I missed a lot of the red flags. I refused to look at the flags because I thought Jehovah was in the organization. That's what we're told. I went to 5 meetings a week. I never missed a memorial since the time I was born. I went to all the district conventions, all the circuit assemblies. I never missed. Even when I was sick, I would go if I didn't feel good. So that's a lot of mind control. It takes a break. I got sick and I had to stay home. And my husband was pretty sly. I mean, our house was open. I wasn't going to tell my husband, you can't watch something. And so as I was getting ready for meetings, he would put certain individuals on the television, critical thinkers or certain people on there, and then I would just kind of listen. It's hard after a while to deny things. Can't keep doing it. I think even with the Australian Royal Commission, you'd think I would have gotten a little bit woken up. For heaven's sakes, I had a pioneer sister telling me, she was a regular pioneer married to an elder, and she watched it every single day, and she told me, go watch it, Ina, go watch it. And I'm like, I can't, because I think it's apostates driven, and it's driven by Satan, which is the world, right? That's how we rationalize things. It's so strange, because I had background information on molest. I read some of the books, like passively, as my mom would bring these books in 35 years ago, 40 years ago, when she was molested, and what happens to individuals that get molested, and how hard it is to survive afterwards. So it wasn't like I didn't have the knowledge of what happens to individuals and didn't have the reading material. I had the reading material. It just didn't all get, I was stuck. So a lot of times we're just stuck. Unless you allow yourself to think differently, or at least listen to someone else who thinks differently. And we don't do that as Jehovah's Witnesses. We only listen to our way of thinking by elders, or we listen to the jw.org. We get all our information from there, and we only allow ourselves to do that versus going to a library, right? And actually learning something different. I'm at the Katie Wheeler Library, and so yeah, you have to look up information and then be willing to change your thoughts. Think differently. Allow yourself to breathe through the thinking part of it, and just allow different thoughts without judgment. It's hard. It would be a stubborn assumption indeed if we declared that our denial-busting capacity is to arrest our addiction only, and to take no responsibility to take this skill outside the rooms if and when it may do some good. A spiritual life takes effort and doesn't always agree with the crowd. And as Jehovah's Witnesses, we're a crowd of witnesses, a cloud of witnesses. So going outside that particular realm is not easy to do. It's very hard. It takes effort on your part, on my part, on our part. So I'm really grateful that there are public libraries, and that there are people like Al-Anon, or places that you can go to that facilitate thinking and changing. AA. I believe that we were in a very controlled, definitely controlled organization that kind of just takes advantage of addiction in a certain way. Not everybody agrees with that. Well, like I said, I'm at the Katie Wheeler Library, and you will hear the children in the background. It's summertime here, so a lot of the moms are taking advantage of the libraries, which I encourage, absolutely. They have little events for the kids. This is exactly where I took my children right now. They're playing with their kites that they made. I went to a yoga class today. That's kind of different for me. I got invited to a yoga class, and so I took my friend up on that, and it was nice. I enjoyed it. And after that, I went to Pete's Coffee, and guess who I saw? Some of the Chinese congregation in their jw garb, long dresses and suits, or you know, they have their tie and their jw attire, which is what, very business oriented. It was interesting because right away I'm like, why is it's a Wednesday morning, why would anybody be dressed up and hang out at Pete's Coffee at around 10 o'clock? So they were having an early coffee break. Interesting. It's unnerving too now that I look back, because these are young people and older people, so, and really little, like 4 years old, 5 years old. It's interesting to see how now, looking back, what I might have looked like out in field service with my children, maybe to someone else that had left. You can't but hardly not notice us in a crowd, because we stick out like sore thumbs. It's funny. Or, you know, when we were Jehovah's Witnesses, and now looking back, oh my, I wish, you know, you want to shout from the rooftops, get out and do something different with your time. Go learn something. Go find a different avenue to help people. Well, it's a learning, life is a learning experience. I hope this isn't too loud. This is a beautiful place. I love it when it's quiet. But alas, I live right smack in the city, so it's not very quiet at all. You can hear all mowers and children, and you can hear birds. The Katie Wheeler Library used to be, I believe, a working farm. So this is somebody's home that got converted into a library. That's nice for everybody. All right. Well, there's a murder over here. It's what they call a group of ravens, crows. I don't know if you can see them. No, you can't really see them, but you can hear them. Yeah, you can't really see them, but you can hear them. Well, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I thought this was interesting. This was a definite, I like this. I like this day. I don't think I realized how bad I was. I mean, you know, how much rationalizing that I did. I don't think I realized how much rationalizing that I did in my life. Now when I peel myself, you know, peel little things off little by little, yeah. I'm glad I have met people that don't mind me in their lives, like my friend. That was nice that she invited me to yoga. And I was grateful for that, because it gives me an opportunity to see life in a whole different way, through different eyes. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I appreciate your time. Please don't forget to tell me where you are in the comments, and so we can have a bigger community. Like, well, at least enjoy the community that we have. I don't want it to be bigger. I like it where it is. So I think it does help the community. Like I said, but it's nice to have it small. So I'm not gonna, not gonna say anything. I enjoy being what I am, and like I said, it's so much fun now to be able to live in a different way, and I'm hoping that you're thriving as well. And that's what I wish for you and your families, that you continue to thrive with abundance of peace and love. And that's all I wish. As we continue, as we grow, it gets better. I promise. It does get better. I promise you it gets better. It takes some time. It takes some time you have to feel pain, a little of the pain, before it gets better. It's like anything else that gets broken in a body. Just like a body part, and I feel like a bone. It gets broken, but then you put it back together, and sometimes, it can be even stronger than what it was. So, yeah. Follow your bliss. Be good humans.